have David Taylor here in the studio with us this morning, and we're going to be talking about what's going on with sales and service, or sales and information. They have an event going on this morning, so we dragged David away from it just long enough to talk about it a little bit. And I think you'll enjoy what he has to say. So welcome, David.
Well, thank you. Well, actually, Franklin's in here with you today.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. David is actually getting ready for the event, and
Yes.
so he asked me to step in for him real quick
Right.
as he was wrapping some things up. So, but thanks for
I
having
knew
me.
David didn't quite sound right for your face.
But thanks for having me. Yeah, we have an event today for folks who have never been here before, and so we're excited about it. I've actually been asked to be the speaker today.
Good.
And you know, we've really made it a focus this year to help folks learn more about what they need to be thinking about as they're going through this process. And so I've actually asked one of our residents to be a speaker with me today.
And I think your resident is a special person to you.
She is a very special person in my life. She was actually my vice principal in elementary school. And so she was a big part of my life, as I think all of our educators are. And it's great. It's a great feeling to know that we have a platform like Green Spring to be able to return the favor, and I'll take care of her just a few years later. So
That's wonderful.
it's cool.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, so we're excited. We have about almost 50 people coming, which is great. We're gonna give them a tour of the Hunters Crossing Clubhouse today. We'll be
That's
showing
the
them.
only one that's not torn up right now.
Yeah, that's the only one that's not going through renovations right now. But we'll be showing them some apartments, showing them the clubhouse, and then we'll sit down and have a nice lunch while we're Miss Manarino and I are speaking just about what life is like here at Green Spring.
Okay. And what is life like in Green Spring?
So it's really nice. So Miss Manarino, who's the resident who's going to be speaking with me, we're just going to be talking about what her process looked like moving to Green Spring.
Oh, good.
So, you know, we're going to talk about what prompted the interest, you know, how she learned about Green Spring. We're going to talk about what her first experience was like when she came to the property. What were some of the questions that she asked to learn more about Green Spring, and what were the things that she anticipated, and what were some of the things that she didn't anticipate. Because what I want to make sure that folks know is we don't want this to feel scripted, and we don't want this to feel like we're just going to give you all the great stuff, which there are plenty. But we want you to know that, you know, you're talking to a real resident who went through exactly what you're going through, and that you can relate.
And there will be snags along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not a one size fits all. It is definitely a getting to know who you are as a person, what makes you you, and will that, you know, do we have something that will help you translate that here so that you can feel a part of the community, which I think is important for everyone.
Right. It's always sad to me when I see somebody move in and they say, well, I'm still involved in this and this and this and this out in the community, and they never really get home in Green Spring.
Yeah, I think that's the big push that our office has, which is we certainly want folks to do this sooner rather than later. You know, sometimes when I'm having conversations with folks, they tell me, well, Franklin, I'm waiting for that, you know, for that moment. And sometimes I translate that into saying I'm waiting for something to happen.
Right.
And sometimes when that happens is you really lose a big essence of what Green Spring is, which is we want you to live independently, enjoy the things that you love before you actually need something. And so I feel like sometimes folks have a little bit harder time acclimating and being part of the community because they do have particular needs that sometimes prevents them from it.
How do you get that across to people, though, that Green Spring is not a nursing home? Green Spring is a place to come live when you want to be free of that responsibility of a house, the responsibility of having to call a repairman every other day to take care of things.
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing that would help us is education. I think although there's a lot of information out there, folks sometimes make a determination through only a small snippet of what's out there that they read. I think a big part of the education piece is to have folks come and see the property for themselves. Because a lot of folks have had the experiences of going through this with their parents, with a family member, and it really was the assisted living, nursing, memory care side of it all. And they really, the independent living side and the continuum of care is still kind of a new topic out there. I mean, folks really don't know much about it and still see it as the continuum of care. care.
Right.
Whereas what we're trying to show folks is, no, you are completely independent.
That's right.
And there are just things out here that we could be supportive of you for, as you may need them in the future, but not necessarily because you have to. Because what I love about Green Spring is that it does allow our residents to live healthier years.
Sure, sure. It's just like one woman I know is one of the original residents here, and she lived here 20 years, and she's just now gotten to the point where she's not as mobile as she used to be. But she's had 20 wonderful years to just enjoy the community.
Absolutely, and that's one of the conversations that we have with our folks, is to say, because everyone wants to fit in, and they say, well, Franklin, I want to make sure that this is a vibrant community where I get to connect with folks, and I say, absolutely. Sure. I mean, here you see folks in their 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, sure. 100s. I mean, all abroad the spectrum. But what's really nice is, with Green Spring being around for 20 years, there are folks who came in just like you, right? And now are enjoying their life as they age in place, sure. because they don't have to worry about the house, they don't have to worry about services, they don't have to worry about certain medical needs that they have, because they're in the community that they know and love who can do that for them.
Right.
So
right.
It's a great talking point, and it makes such a difference when people can see it live. Mm-hmm. And so one of the things that I really want our residents to partner with me and my team on is, when you see us out there and you see us talking to folks, come say hello. Because what I will say is, it makes such a difference for our prospective residents to see that this is genuinely a place that people do like to live, mm-hmm. And who better to get it from than our own residents.
Right. I know sometimes when I see someone, someone from your office showing someone around, I'll usually stop and talk to them a minute. But they're often in such a hurry, they really can't stop and talk and find out what's going on. Well,
I will say that a big initiative in my office is that no time but the present. Mm-hmm. In other words, if we're with someone, regardless of what our day looks like, we want to make sure that they know that they're the only focus that we have at that point in time. Mm-hmm. So my office is definitely getting much better at, if you want to stop and say hello and we talk through some things, we certainly want to welcome that. Mm-hmm. And just make sure that they feel much better than when they came in. Mm-hmm. I think that's the most important thing. And it's not about what you talk about, but it's the way you feel afterwards. Right. And that's the feeling that we want to make sure they have as they leave.
And the fact that you're still active and still
absolutely
involved. And
yeah, I mean, there's really, we don't want your life can change as much as you want it to, or not. It's up to you. Like we tell folks, you can still be out in the community. Sure. In fact, you just have a bigger platform to be able to bring folks here, do events here, and vice versa. We're still very connected to the community mm-hmm. in Springfield, Annandale, Alexandria, DC. I mean, you name it. You just have more resources available to you and more people that you can connect with.
I think one thing that people don't realize is, once they move in here, they're not going to use their apartment the way they used a house.
No.
And they keep thinking of all this entertaining that they did. Well, you don't entertain that way once you move here. You entertain in the dining room, or you entertain in one of the meeting rooms. And they don't need those huge apartments anymore.
And that's right. That's what we call stuff, mm-hmm. right? And so that's the whole reason why our Erickson Realty Moving Services program was born, mm-hmm. is that folks were having a hard time saying, well, Franklin, how do I fit all this stuff into my house?
You don't
well,
need
the
it.
reality is, that's the wrong question. The right question is, do you actually need it?
Right.
And what we come to find out is that when we come to your home, we ask, okay, out of this 5-bedroom house, 3 bathrooms in your sunroom and your dining room, what do you actually use?
Exactly.
But 2 rooms in your house.
Exactly.
Great. So let's think about that concept and say, okay, here's what you actually need, and do you feel comfortable in that kind of environment? And that really kind of turns a lot of mindsets around.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I know I used to, when I was showing my apartment a lot, I would say, go home and look and see what rooms you really use. And say, do you really need all of that extra room?
Yeah, and we've definitely taken that mindset now. So what our personal moving consultant will do, Lauren Askey, as many of you know, she'll go out to someone's house and say, okay, well, let's walk through the house and tell us what has to come, like what is absolutely important, and here are the floor plans that you've told us is what you're looking for, and let's put the floor plans together so that you know what you actually want to bring to Green Spring, so that you all have an idea of what else really you don't really need anymore, and what will we do with it. Could it be for a family member? Could it be something that you can sell to get resources back, or is it something that you could potentially get rid of? Let's help you work through that, so that way when we have the apartment that you're looking for, you're ready to go.
Yeah. I know there's one retirement place that I heard of recently that has contact with I guess it's an auction house that will go in and take things that can be auctioned for pretty good money.
Definitely. In fact, we have that very same partnership. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to make sure that if a resident can get value for it, and that's what we want to do. I mean, we don't want to get rid of stuff if we don't have to.
Sure.
If there are things that will not come to Green Spring, but there's value to it, well, we want to get that for you. So we have partners that come to the property here at Green Spring to talk about silver, gold, jewelry. We have folks that we partner with in auction to see if there's value for something for you, that we can get that for you. Mm-hmm. So the opportunities are endless, and the reality is, if our residents who are currently here want to use those services and want those partnerships, well, why not? I mean, those are available to our residents as well. Sure. And so if you felt like you wanted to downsize a little bit, get rid of a few things, you certainly can. Just let us know, and we'll get you those connections.
Make the connection.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I want to take a minute here. We're having a little information problem with our survey. It seems that some of you are throwing away this very valuable little piece of mail that's been in our boxes. It's our annual survey. Green Spring puts this out every year. It goes back to Holleran survey, and they go through the questions and they analyze them, put them down in an order that Green Spring can take a look at, but they never know who has answered the questions. Now, in that envelope was the survey. And the survey is very simple this year. You open it up, and it simply has some very simple questions. They want to know what your age is, how long you've lived here, basically, what you think of the various departments. They give you room for some comments. But they want to know what you think of what's going on in Green Spring. They want you to be candid. Don't hold back. If you have a real comment, hopefully you'll have some constructive ideas that can be put forth. And they give you a full page, in fact 2 pages, where you can write all sorts of comments and ideas that might improve living here in Green Spring. So if by chance you have discarded this very valuable piece of information, you need to contact administration. The front desk can help you do that to get another one. But this is very, very important to our life here in Green Spring, because it's the only way that they have to know what we need without us being personally involved. In other words, without them knowing, well, so-and-so said such and such, but they always complain, so I'm not going to listen to them. But you may have a genuine problem with something that's going on, and they want to hear about that. So please answer your survey. If you don't do anything but do check marks, but try to make a comment on each one, good or bad. Make some very constructive suggestions if you have them, and let's make Green Spring a better place than it is right now. So thank you, Franklin. Do you have anything to add to that?
I do, actually. With the survey, I just want folks to know that it is something we certainly want every single person to participate, because I will say that this is a personal report card for each and every one of us, including myself. And I really want to know how we're doing here at Green Spring. It's not necessarily about our home office, but it's actually about every single person who's working here at Green Spring, and how can we better serve you. So on behalf of my team, on behalf of Green Spring and all the staff that works here, please fill out the survey. We'd love to hear from you, like you said, good or bad, and I can't wait to see it.
Okay, very good.